There is no way that he just said this, as Giannis Antetokounmpo in a recent interview has come out and said something that has Bucks fans shocked and fired up, and it is surrounding a trade out of Milwaukee. So I'm going to break down the exact comments he made and discuss what it could mean going forward, as this has the NBA media up in arms. Stay tuned for all that in this episode. But before we get into it, quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. If you're a part of the 80% that aren't subscribed to the channel and you enjoy daily Bucks content, we're less than 100 subscribers away from our big goal of 1,000 subscribers. So please do myself a favor if you're a part of the 80% and hit that subscribe button, as I produce daily Bucks content. But we have a lot of news to discuss today, and there's tons of news going around in Bucks land. Again, we'll have you covered with it. Probably another video later today or tomorrow. The Bucks do play the Dallas Mavericks tonight, and Chris Middleton's going to be out. But the bigger storyline is the comments made by Giannis. And again, Giannis trade speculation has not been something that Bucks fans, we're not shy about it. We know that it's going to happen. We know that other teams are going to press. They're going to want to get one of the best players, arguably the best player in the NBA. But it is not very often that the player himself, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, actually speaks out about being traded. And he is under contract right now. We all know that. For a while, he signed his big extension recently. But he came out and said some very, very interesting things. And this was the tweet that had everybody up in arms. Giannis Antetokounmpo thinks he might be traded if the Bucks don't win the championship. He said, quote, "Yeah, if we don't win a championship, I might get traded. This is the world we live in." And I want to dive into this because there's a few things to go over it now. And the first thing I want to preface this by saying is that, is it a bit of a surprising comment for a superstar to make? Yes, not many stars make that. But like you'll see when I dive into it a little bit here, this was taken a little bit out of context, but it's still very interesting. And basically, he was asked, could you see yourself getting traded at any point if the Bucks fail to win the championship? All these things. And he basically just said, yeah, I mean, at this point of the NBA and the way the league is running at this point, the way the league is, anybody can get traded at any point, and Giannis is no different. However, I would tend to disagree. I think there is zero world ever that John Horst or any GM of the Milwaukee Bucks would willfully trade Giannis Antetokounmpo if he doesn't request it. Quite frankly, I think they're going to stick with him no matter what. But if you're Giannis, it's a very interesting comment. You can see this here as they get ready for the new year. The players know they have to perform well if they want to remain intact. Nobody knows this better than Bucks star forward Giannis, who led Milwaukee to a title a few years back. But since then, as we all know, the Bucks haven't come close to hoisting the trophy again. This is the second year playing alongside Dame, and he has a good chance to win it all. However, even he knows that if they don't win, changes are likely coming. And I agree with all of this. I just don't think those changes are in the form of Giannis Antetokounmpo, because he is the centerpiece, the nucleus of this team. Of course, yeah, if we don't win a championship, it might get traded. This is the job we live. This is the world we're living in. It's everybody at any given moment. If you don't succeed, that might be it for us. If you don't do a good enough job, you're out. And that's the part of this that makes a bit more sense, and that was left out of the original headlining tweet. I mean, it makes sense. If you don't perform at your job, all these things, you can get let go in a moment's notice. That being said, if you are Giannis, you're probably not going to get let go at a moment's notice. Of course, if the Bucks fail this year to make any sort of playoff push and fail to make the championship and fail to win the title, then of course changes are going to be coming. But they're not going to be coming in the form of a Giannis trade unless he directly asks for it. It might come in the form of making some bigger splashes in free agency, making some bigger trades, maybe moving away. I don't even think they're going to move away from Dame if they don't win this year, but maybe in the form of that, a Dame move, but I don't think a Dame move or Giannis move are coming. But the fact that he said this had fans really surprised, and it's because you very rarely see this side of an NBA superstar to where they come out and they say that, yeah, there's a chance that I get traded if I don't win. But really what it is just him holding accountability to himself and the team, in the sense of, if they don't win this year, changes need to happen. The front office isn't going to just keep running it back. They obviously made a couple of key moves this offseason. They brought in Darwin Ham. They brought in Gary Trent Jr. They brought in Taurean Prince. They drafted A.J. Johnson. There's a lot of guys now that they have to hopefully help propel them, specifically Gary Trent Jr. and Taurean Prince, into a championship window here. But the question mark is, are they actually going to be able to do this? And basically the article came out and said that for Antetokounmpo to admit this is interesting and reflects the way that the league has been over the last few years. The days of a team consistently contending without anything to show for it are over, as franchises are going all in to win now. And that's kind of the thing here. It's less about Giannis saying, hey, I want to get traded, even though some fans are out there saying this was the most discreet way, or the most obvious way, technically, to request a trade we've ever seen. I don't think that's the route that he was going with it. I don't think he wants to be out of Milwaukee. I don't think he's requesting a trade by any means, because if he wanted to be out of Milwaukee, he obviously wouldn't sign that extension. He could have requested a trade, all these things. He seems very bought in. But when taken out of context, and even when taken in context to a degree, it is very surprising to see a superstar like him come out and say this. We just don't see it very often. And because we don't see it very often, all the media outlets picked it out. A lot of Bucks media picked it out. And fans are saying, what? Why would he say this? But when you dive into it more, it's more so a reflection of how the league has changed in the sense of every team now, there's not many middling teams. You have to either go for a championship or, I guess, tank to a degree, which you're not really allowed to do anymore. And the Bucks don't want to live in the middle. They have two of some of the best players in the NBA, specifically Giannis, and of course Dame as well, who's looking healthier than ever. So it's interesting. One other thing I wanted to point out here, this was a tweet. It says, it's actually crazy that the quote, this one here, was taken out of context. Basically said, if we don't win this year, would you get fired? Antetokounmpo said with a smile to his coworker, do you have it in the back of your mind? Like, what if this year doesn't go well? Yeah, if we don't win a championship, I might get traded. Yeah, this is the job we live. This is the world we're living in. And it was heavy and humorous all at once. Even more so when Giannis pulled a similar prank on Bucks GM John Horst on his way to the gym after the interview. From top to bottom, in other words, heads roll here if it doesn't go well, or heads could at least relocate. And again, it's all about from top to bottom. It starts at the top of the management with John Horst, and then it goes all the way to the bottom. But at this point, things are, it's a very weird time for him to say this with the regular season approaching and them really trying to win this year. And it's a very important, pivotal year for the Milwaukee Bucks. They need to make another push. Yes, they won a couple years ago, but they need to do it again. They need to replicate their 2022 success and just do that now. They made a huge splash for one of the best point guards at the time in the league in Damian Lillard. And if they want to replicate their 2022 championship run, it's time to do it now. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on that. And one other note before we wrap up is, of course, the Milwaukee Bucks tonight play the Dallas Mavericks. And Chris Middleton is not going to be, like I mentioned in yesterday's video, he didn't practice yesterday, and he's not playing in their preseason finale. And it's going to be interesting because at this point, his status is up in the air. I'll have another video covering an update with him, but it's not looking great for him on opening night. I think he probably still gets in there, but regarding progress, they would have really liked to see him play in the preseason. We all would have liked to see him play in the preseason finale. This is usually when the players starting to ramp up. Other teams in the East, everybody is really starting to ramp up now. We're about a week away from the regular season starting, so things are really starting to get, serious at this point. Every game matters. 82-game regular season. Of course, the Bucks will make the playoffs in all likelihood, but they really need to figure out how to gel this team together. And doing that, the preseason helps a little bit with that, and not having one of your best forwards is going to be a little bit crucial. But looking into tonight's game, AJ Johnson's a guy that, the article says is a player to watch, but he's been a guy we've been talking about on the channel a bunch, a hidden gem. I called him for the Milwaukee Bucks. He had a very good game against the Lakers, like I mentioned, 5 for 12. And then on Monday, he went 2 for 15. But a lot of those were missed layups. If you watch the game, he drove. He got to his spots a ton. He just missed at the rim. And like I've mentioned before and in the past, adjusting to the NBA paint defense is one of the biggest adjustments compared to college. The players are bigger, the players are stronger, and they're more equipped to handle slashers. And just everything in general is a bit higher level at the NBA level compared to college, especially on the defensive end. So now, what's going to happen and how AJ Johnson is going to bounce back is going to be the biggest thing to watch if you're in Milwaukee, if you're looking for AJ Johnson to actually make a push for the rotation. So it's going to be a very interesting game tonight. Hopefully they can make a big push. Hopefully we see all the players start to play well. Dame, Giannis, assuming they get in there. Probably won't be for a ton of minutes, but I'm more looking forward to AJ Johnson and seeing what he can do following his brutal game Monday. But he also had a great game a couple days before that against the Lakers. So let me know in the comments what you're looking forward to the most out of tonight's preseason game. And also let me know what your thoughts are on the Giannis comments. See you tomorrow.